The issue after 60. Why senior men don't care about women anymore. Unexpected relationship hard truths. What if I told you the real reason many senior men seem to stop caring about women has nothing to do with bitterness or giving up on love, and everything to do with a quiet truth they've finally recognized? These men aren't stepping back because they're tired or unable to date. They're stepping back because something inside them shifted, a clarity they can't ignore once it appears. For men over 60, this change doesn't arrive in a single moment. It builds slowly, after years of watching, learning, and understanding how relationships truly work. Issue with age, patterns become obvious, behaviors make more sense, and things that felt confusing in their younger years suddenly reveal their meaning. And once a man sees the truth behind it all, he can never go back to who he was. Welcome back to my channel. It's Vernon again. In today's video, I'll break down the 4 powerful reasons senior men no longer chase women, not out of anger but out of wisdom earned through years of loving, losing, and protecting the peace that matters most. Before we begin, if you're serious about understanding modern dating truths and relationship psychology after 60, hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. We're diving deep into emotional patterns most people never acknowledge, and you'll want more of these conversations about love, companionship, and dignity in your later years. Let's begin with the truth that rises first, the one that teaches a man what truly matters as he grows older. 1. The pursuit of peace and stability. Senior men have discovered that life without romantic drama is unbelievably peaceful. And once you've tasted that peace, you guard it like a treasure. When you're young, turbulence feels like passion. Arguments feel like intensity. Emotional ups and downs seem like proof that something real is happening. But somewhere around your 60s, if you've been paying attention, you realize that chaos isn't depth. It's just chaos, and the absence of it isn't boring. It's liberating. I'm talking about waking up without knots in your stomach, going through your day without wondering what mood she'll be in when you get home. Enjoying your hobbies without guilt, spending time with friends without permission, making decisions without navigating a minefield of unspoken expectations. This is what older men emotional needs truly look like when they're finally honest with themselves. The shift happens when a man realizes he no longer needs to prove anything. He's already built his career, raised his family, survived his failures, and learned his lessons. What's left? The desire for harmony, the craving for simplicity, the recognition that every day counts, and he doesn't want to spend those days man or close to connection. Far from it. A woman who brings warmth, laughter, understanding, and genuine companionship, she's welcome with open arms. But a woman who brings confusion, manipulation, unpredictability, or constant drama, an older man no longer has the patience or the willingness to tolerate it. He simply walks away. Changing male priorities aren't about hating women. They're about loving peace more than you fear loneliness. When you've lived through enough relationship chaos, you understand that being alone doesn't mean being lonely sometimes. It means being free, free to breathe, free to think, free to exist without performing or defending. There's something Marcus Aurelius recognized centuries ago. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Senior men have internalized this truth when it comes to dating after 60. They can't control whether women understand them, appreciate them, but they can control whether they allow chaos into their carefully constructed sense of peaceful life after 60. Have you ever walked away from a relationship simply because you valued your peace more than the connection? Share your experience in the comments. I'd love to hear how many of you have made this choice. But peace isn't the only reason. Men step back sometimes. The heart simply runs out of fuel. 2. Exhaustion from sacrifices. There's a weight that accumulates over decades, invisible to most people, but crushing to the man carrying it. Many senior men feel they spent their entire lives giving time, money, stability, loyalty, protection, provision, and Yet somewhere along the way, they stop feeling seen or appreciated. Let me tell you about someone I knew years ago. My cousin Robert worked 2 jobs throughout his 30s and 40s to build a comfortable life for his family. He missed his kids' soccer games because he was on the road. He postponed his dreams because responsibilities came first. He showed up day after day, year after year, doing what he thought love required. Then one day after his divorce, he sat across from me in a quiet cafe and said something I'll never forget. "Vernon, I gave everything, and somehow, it was never enough. I was never enough." He wasn't angry. He was simply, issue. That's what exhaustion looks like on a man who's been depleted for too long. This is the reality many senior men live with. They didn't stop caring because of anger. They stopped because of emotional fatigue. There's only so many times you can pour from a cup that's never refilled before you realize the cup itself is cracked and leaking. Women sometimes wonder why older men seem emotionally distant or unwilling to invest deeply. The answer isn't complicated. These men have spent decades being the rock, the provider, the problem solver, the steady presence everyone leaned on. And when they finally reach their 60s, they look back and ask, who was there for me? Who saw my struggles? Who appreciated the sacrifices I made without being asked? Too often, the answer is silence. Ralph Waldo Emerson understood this when he wrote that, "The reward of a thing well done is to have done it." But here's the painful truth. Men need more than the satisfaction of duty. They need acknowledgement. They need to feel valued, not just useful. And when that acknowledgement never comes, something inside them quietly shuts down. Senior men's psychology reveals that this withdrawal isn't about holding grudges. The issue, it's about recognizing that you can't keep giving to people who only take. It's about understanding that your energy at this stage of life is finite, and you get to choose where it goes. So when an older man steps back from dating or relationships, he's often asking himself, do I have anything left to give? And if I do, will it be valued this time? The fear of repeating the same pattern, of sacrificing himself again for someone who won't see it, is enough to make him choose solitude over the risk. And once a man realizes how much he has given without being valued, something else changes inside him. 3. Refusal to tolerate chaos. Younger men tolerate red flags because they don't yet understand what those flags are waving at. Older men, they disconnect instantly. This isn't cruelty, it's clarity born from experience. When a senior man encounters inexplicable conflict, manipulation, passive, aggressive behavior, he doesn't convince himself it'll get better. He simply shuts down internally and begins planning his exit. Why? Because he's seen this movie before, and he knows how it ends. I remember a woman I briefly dated a few years back, lovely on the surface, charming, intelligent, well-spoken. But within weeks, she'd say one thing and mean another. She'd create problems out of thin air just to see if I'd chase her. She'd test my patience with manufactured drama, as if chaos was her way of confirming I cared. One evening, after another confusing argument about something trivial, I looked at her and realized, I don't need this. But not because I didn't care about her, but because I cared about my sanity more. I ended it quietly, without drama, without lengthy explanations. She was shocked. She expected me to fight for her, to prove myself, to play the game. But older men don't play games anymore. They've learned that life is too short to waste on people who confuse love with struggle. Joseph Campbell once said, find a place inside where there's joy, and the joy will burn out the pain. Senior men have found that place, and they're not willing to let anyone destroy it, no matter how attractive or interesting they might be. This refusal to tolerate chaos is one of the most misunderstood aspects of why senior men withdraw. People think it's coldness. It's not. It's boundary setting at the highest level. It's the recognition that mature male perspectives include the ability to walk away from anything that disrupts your hard-won peace. They interpret it as lack of interest or emotional unavailability. But what they're actually encountering is a man who has finally learned to value himself enough to say no to drama, no to manipulation, No to relations that require constant negotiation. Senior relationship advice always comes back to this. Protect your peace at all costs, because once it's gone, rebuilding it takes years, and men over 60 don't have years to waste on toxic dynamics, no matter how lonely the alternative might feel. That's why this lesson needs to be heard. Countless men in their 50s, 60s, and 70s are living this truth silently. Sharing this video helps more men recognize their own experience and realize they're not alone in choosing peace over chaos. And with that clarity, a final realization rises. Riot, steady and impossible to ignore. 4. Emotional self-sufficiency. Senior men learn they don't need a woman to be happy. Not in a bitter, defensive way, but in a deeply liberating, profoundly peaceful way. They built routines, passions, inner strength, and emotional regulation. Happynetic validation. This is the ultimate transformation in senior men's happiness. It's the moment a man realizes he's complete on his own, not perfect, not without flaws, but whole, capable of joy without someone else creating it for him. When you're younger, you believe companionship is essential to fulfillment. You chase relations because you think they'll complete you, make you better, give your life meaning. But as you age, you discover something revolutionary. You can give yourself everything you once sought from others. A man who has reached emotional self-sufficiency doesn't wake up thinking, "I need to find someone." He wakes up thinking, "What brings me joy today?" Maybe it's reading a book that's been sitting on his shelf for months. Maybe it's meeting old friends for coffee, taking a long walk, or simply enjoying the silence of his own home. This isn't loneliness, it's sovereignty. It's the recognition that men choosing solitude are often the happiest. They've stopped performing for approval. They've stopped measuring their worth by whether someone desires them. Does this mean they're closed to love? Absolutely not. But the dynamic changes completely. A self-sufficient man approaches relations from abundance, not need. He's interested in sharing his life, not filling a void. And that shift from seeking to offering makes all the difference. Women can sense this energy immediately. Some find it attractive because confidence rooted in self-sufficiency is magnetic. Others find it intimidating because they realize this man doesn't need them the way younger men do. He's not chasing, he's not proving. He simply exists, content in his own company, open to connection but unbothered by its absence. Carl Jung recognized this when he said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." Senior men who've reached emotional freedom for men have claimed that privilege. They've stopped performing. They've stopped sacrificing their authenticity for the hope of being chosen. If you found value in this video so far, do yourself a favor and save it. You'll want to come back to these insights when you're making decisions about relationships, boundaries, and how you choose to spend your remaining years. By now you just learned the 4 truths about why senior men stop caring about chasing women. They represent men who've done the work, learned the lessons, and arrived at a place of clarity most people never reach. They've stopped measuring their lives by external validation and started measuring them by internal contentment. They stopped caring about losing themselves. They stopped caring about proving their worth to people who never valued it. They stopped caring about relationships that cost more than they offer. And in that stopping, they find something precious, themselves. Søren Kierkegaard, the Danish philosopher, understood this deeply. Life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. The issue: what did you discover about yourself when you stopped caring about external approval? Share your story in the comments below. Your experience might be exactly what another man needs to hear today. If this video resonated with you, hit that like button. If you want more honest conversations about senior men walking away, long-term relationship lessons, and finding dignity and joy in your later years, subscribe to my channel. I'm building a community of men and women who refuse to accept shallow narratives about aging and relationships. Thanks for watching till now, and see you in the next video.